June 29th, 2025. On the sidelines of the Austrian Grand Prix, Mercedes boss Toto Wolff and Alpine boss Flavio Briatore held crunch talks. On the face of it, the meeting agenda appears predictable. Renault is no longer producing engines for Alpine. The team believes Mercedes will dominate 2026 and wants their engine. Soon, rumours also circulated that Briatore was discussing the possibility of loaning Valtteri Bottas. Neither Jack Doohan nor Franco Colapinto has lived up to expectations. Bottas has stayed fit and still has the desire to return. And that was it. Just a seemingly ordinary meeting between two future partners. But what if there is still one more discussion? What if at that meeting they have floated the idea of Andrea Kimi Antonelli driving for Alpine? And what if there is some credence to this idea? Italian newspaper Gazzetta dello Sport has now reported that Toto Wolff is considering the idea of sending Antonelli to Alpine for a few years. This is a similar way Russell was promoted, having spent 3 seasons at Williams. And even though Kimi is a phenomenal driver, we tend to forget that the younger Russell was equally a force. But this is not just a figment of our imagination. Former F1 champion Jenson Button also believes that the Verstappen and Russell pairing is what is best for the team. We all want to see Kimi next season with Max, but the fact is that Russell is currently a much better driver than Kimi. Pairing Russell with Verstappen is a two-pronged attack. First, it denies him access to a competitor, Red Bull, while also guaranteeing that Mercedes has the strongest pairing to take on McLaren. But this isn't just a blockbuster driver lineup, it's a flashpoint. A clash of styles, of personalities, and of two drivers who both believe they are destined to be champion. Mercedes has been here before, having navigated the infamous Civil War between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. But this is different. This rivalry would not be born within the team, it would arrive with a pre-existing grudge. This is a story about the apex of ambition, a deep dive into a hypothetical partnership that promises unparalleled intensity, and a look at the immense challenge facing Mercedes. Can they convert this competitive friction into championship glory, or will it tear the team apart from within? Stay tuned for our analysis of the Russell-Verstappen pairing. Subscribe to the channel. This is Front Lockout. Chapter 1. The Anatomy of a Rivalry. The drivers. To understand how this rivalry would unfold, you first have to understand the two men at its centre. They are a study in contrasts. Two of the most formidable talents on the grid, each with a unique and deeply ingrained approach to their craft. First, Max Verstappen, the knife-edge maestro. Verstappen has redefined what is possible in a Formula One car. His driving style is aggressive, almost counterintuitive. He explicitly favours an oversteery car with a pointy front end, a car that is inherently loose and unstable at the rear. While other drivers struggle with this knife-edge balance, Verstappen thrives on it. It allows him to rotate the car with incredible speed, sacrificing braking distance to get on the throttle as early as possible out of a corner. This preference has a profound impact on car development and his teammates. The Red Bull cars have been notoriously difficult for anyone else to drive. Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, Sergio Perez, all have struggled to tame a machine that seems to be built around Verstappen's unique ability to control instability. The result, Red Bull has often operated as an effective one-car team. Verstappen's personality is just as focused. He is demanding, a realist who expects 100% from himself as well as the team. While matured from his fiery early years, he is driven by an unshakable confidence and an intolerance for underperformance. Then George Russell, the smooth operator. Russell has built a reputation as a precise, intelligent, and highly adaptable driver. His style is described as minimalist and gentle, characterized by smooth trajectories. He favors a U-shape, cornering approach which is perfectly suited to the current generation of ground effect cars that reward stability and excellent tire management. This inherent suitability to the modern regulations has been a key factor in his success. And his performance against the greatest of all time, Lewis Hamilton, speaks for itself. In their partnership, Russell has more than held his own. In 2024, he outperformed Hamilton in 18 out of 24 qualifying sessions. The stats don't lie. He has proven he can compete at the very highest level. His personality is equally calculated. He is described as millimetric and precise, but he also possesses what he calls the fire when the helmet is on, a ruthless athlete with tunnel vision and one goal, to win. This is the fundamental clash. Verstappen, the aggressive master of instability. Russell, the smooth master of the modern F1 car. Two fundamentally different philosophies, two drivers at the absolute peak of their powers, set on a collision course within the same team. Chapter 2. The Flashpoint. Any pairing of two elite drivers is bound to create friction. But the history between Verstappen and Russell suggests this rivalry would ignite with a pre-existing fuse. We don't have to look far for a precedent. The Qatar Grand Prix. A clash between the two drivers where Verstappen was penalised for a questionable manoeuvre. The aftermath was telling. Verstappen was initially unrepentant, firing off sharp and targeted retorts. His now famous comment to Russell, "Next time, I'll bring tissues," was a direct personal jab. Russell, for his part, accused Verstappen of threatening behaviour and reportedly refused reconciliation. This wasn't just a racing incident, it was personal. Research into F1 rivalries shows that long-running battles turn into personal grudges. Drivers with intense pasts are much less likely to step aside for each other. This is the critical difference between this potential pairing and the Hamilton-Rosberg Silver War. That rivalry developed over time, eroding from a place of camaraderie. The Verstappen-Russell rivalry would arrive at Mercedes as an active grudge match. There would be no honeymoon period, no initial cordiality. Mercedes would be inheriting a conflict that is already simmering. The battle would also be a psychological one. Verstappen's direct, unfiltered nature would clash with Russell's more measured, media-savvy approach. Russell is acutely aware of how words are scrutinized and broadcast to the world. Verstappen has historically been more impulsive. It would be a fascinating clash of public personas, with both drivers trying to win the war of narrative and perception, a war that Mercedes would have to manage from day one. Chapter 3. The Car Development Conundrum. Perhaps the greatest challenge for Mercedes would not be managing the drivers, but managing the car. How do you build a machine that can satisfy two fundamentally opposing driving styles? Mercedes' official philosophy is that they do not build a car around a specific driver. They aim for a balanced car with operational flexibility, but this philosophy would be put to the ultimate test. Verstappen's demand for a pointy, oversteery car is in direct conflict with Russell's preference for a stable, U-shaped cornering machine. The recent struggles of Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes offer a cautionary tale. Hamilton, like Verstappen, has a more aggressive, attacking style that has often clashed with the characteristics of the current ground effect cars. Mercedes has worked tirelessly to give him a car that allows his style without breaking away, but it has been a constant battle. This demonstrates the inherent difficulty of forcing a car to perfectly suit a conflicting driving style, even for a team with Mercedes' immense resources. This creates a constructor's conundrum. The pressure to win will be immense. Mercedes will likely be forced to lean towards one car philosophy, even subtly. This risks alienating the other driver. If they build the car for Verstappen, will Russell be able to adapt? Or will he be left behind, just like Verstappen's previous teammates at Red Bull? If they aim for a compromise, will it result in a car that is suboptimal for both, preventing either from reaching their peak? This is not just an engineering problem. It's a strategic dilemma with championship-level consequences. Chapter 4. The Mercedes Crucible. If any team is equipped to handle this kind of internal firestorm, it's Mercedes. Their experience managing the Silver War between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg provides an invaluable, if cautionary, blueprint. That rivalry was one of the most intense in modern F1 history, marked by on-track collisions, off-track tensions, and threats of suspension. Mercedes implemented team orders, dealt with accusations of foul play, and navigated a minefield of psychological warfare. As team principal Toto Wolff says, "I had Rosberg and Hamilton fighting for a world championship, so everything else afterwards is easy." But is it? The Hamilton-Rosberg rivalry developed within the team. The Verstappen-Russell dynamic would arrive with its own baggage. Wolff has acknowledged there are pros and cons of having two drivers fighting each other hard. But their past strategies, like team orders or data dossiers, could be met with even greater resistance from two supremely confident drivers who already have a history of friction. The challenge for Wolff will be to harness their competitive energy for the good of the team, particularly for the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull's recent struggles, often fighting as an effective one-car team, have shown that individual brilliance doesn't always translate to team success. If the Verstappen-Russell rivalry devolves into on-track incidents or a lack of cooperation, Mercedes risks sacrificing the ultimate prize. Chapter 5. A New Era. Despite the swirling rumours, George Russell remains publicly confident. "The likelihood I'm not at Mercedes next year, I think, is exceptionally low," he has stated, emphasising his desire to continue with the team and his readiness to be teammates with anybody. But the pieces on the chessboard are moving. Verstappen has a performance clause in his Red Bull contract. The reports of Mercedes CEO giving his approval for the deal are persistent. And the potential loan of Kimi Antonelli to Alpine provides a clear strategic pathway for Mercedes to create their new super team. The prospect of Max Verstappen and George Russell in the same garage is a tantalizing one. It pits raw, knife-edge brilliance against smooth, analytical precision. It promises a rivalry that could define an era. The success of this hypothetical partnership hinges on Mercedes' ability to navigate a treacherous landscape of conflicting driving styles, pre-existing personal tensions, and immense championship pressure. Can Toto Wolff forge a cohesive unit from two fiercely competitive apex predators, or will the internal battle for supremacy lead to a destructive stalemate? The outcome will not only shape the future of Mercedes, but could redefine the competitive balance of Formula One, offering a compelling spectacle of ambition, skill, and strategic warfare at the very pinnacle of motorsport.